All right, we were looking for that off-air button to say live, and it looks like it does now. So, uh, if you guys are here for the Jon Acuff Do-Over webinar, you guys are in the right place. We have a fun short night in store for you. I'm Brian Lane, and I'm hosting the webinar. And in a few seconds, I'm going to kick it over to Jon. We just want to thank you guys so much for giving up just a few minutes of a weeknight for us. And we got some super exciting things coming in 2016, and Jon's going to tell you a little bit about those. So without any further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Jon.
Thanks, Brian. Thank you so much for watching us tonight. I know when you think about Christmas, you think, I've got to go to a webinar. I don't have anything else going on this time of year. My nights are all open and free. There's no recitals and shopping and concerts and Christmas lights. So I really appreciate watching the webinar tonight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm at home right now. I am sitting in my home office, and yes, our bookshelves are organized by color. You can see there's two black rows right here. There's a yellow row over there. There's a red row. There's a white row. This one over, these are miscellaneous that I need to sort still. So there's that's a grab bag over there. But I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. And I started doing webinars, and I really started working on things like this recently, but I've been doing a lot of goal setting, resolution kind of writing for the last couple of years. I would say, if I was honest, I really didn't understand goals. I didn't understand how to set goals. I didn't understand what you needed to have a good career or chase a dream during my 20s. I kind of sleptwalked through my 20s. And it was when I hit my 30s that I started to realize there were specific things that you needed to do. And there were changes that you needed to make if you really wanted to have a long-term change. I was really good at setting aggressive, excited, like, I'm going to change the world overnight goals. And they worked for like the first time, like, or the second time, or the third week, right up until like the third week of January. And then I just quit. And then every December I'd look back and go, oh, that thing, I was going to do that thing, but I didn't do that thing. And so I started to think, you know, last year I said next year, and it's right now, like next year is right now, and I didn't do the thing I wanted to do. How do I really change? And change is something I write about and I think about a lot. So tonight I want to share with you the 4 things I think you need if you're going to have an amazing change. Like if there's something you want to tweak or change this year, there's 4 things you need. There's 4 different types of change you're going to go through. In your dream, in your life, in your work, there's 4 kind of big waves that come for all of us. And then I'm going to give you a surprise at the very end. There's something that I'm really excited about. I want to give you a little more information about the 30 Days of Hustle. I think it's one of the best things I've ever done, and I'm really excited about inviting you to join me on it. So without further ado, that's the second time we've said without further ado on this webinar. If you're playing along at home, I'm going to talk to you about change. And there's really only 2 types of change you have to deal with. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see which ones I'm talking about. In your life, as you go about your day, as you go about work and hustle and relationships, there's really only 2 types you're going to see. Now, I don't know if I have that set up right. I don't know if people are seeing that yet. I want to make sure you're able to see that. Present to everyone. All right, there you go. So there's 2 types of change. There is voluntary change, and there's involuntary change. So I think about it like a straight line. At the top of the line is the word voluntary. That's a change that you make, a change you initiate. At the bottom of the spectrum is an involuntary change. Whenever I think of this chart, I think about the graphic designer I met who told me, Jon, I recognize that if I didn't learn how to design for the internet, I was going to become a dinosaur. My industry was going to pass me by. So I had to make some voluntary changes. He took a class. He plugged into an online design community. He changed voluntarily. On the other end of the spectrum, I think about the industrial designer my friend Chris worked with, who was really good at his job. But they said to him one day, we need you to learn AutoCAD. We love the work you do. You've been here for years, but now we're going to change things with AutoCAD. AutoCAD is the future of our company. And he said, I'm faster than AutoCAD. I'm better than AutoCAD. I can keep up. And for a minute he could, but as you know, you lose that race to technology if you're not careful. and he lost his job and experienced an involuntary change. Now, the challenge with this idea, the pushback you should think, is that not every voluntary decision, not every voluntary change is good, and not every involuntary is bad. We've all voluntarily stayed at the wrong job longer than we should have. Maybe for you this year, right now, you're thinking, I told myself I'd stay at this job for a year, and that was 3 years ago. We've all voluntarily done that. We've all had friends voluntarily date idiots longer than they should have. And on the other end of the spectrum, we've all had good involuntary things happen to us, surprises that we didn't see coming. So you really have to add another line to this simple equation, and that line goes from negative to positive, to take into account the different types of things that are going to happen to you. And when you do that, when you break it down that way, you see these 4 different moments you're going to experience. Let's talk about that first change you're going to bump into at some point. When you have a voluntary negative situation, that's what's called a ceiling. This is when you're voluntarily going toward a negative situation. This is when you're one of the 90% of Americans who are disengaged at work and every week go to a job they don't like. The saddest hour of the week for Americans, according to scientists, is Sunday at noon, because that's the first time you can feel Monday coming. And they're voluntarily doing that. They got stuck. And maybe for you, it was you climbed to the top of a career ladder and didn't know what to do next. That happened to me when I was 32. I was a senior content designer, and there was no super duper content designer role above that. I was over at 32. That was intimidating to think, okay, for the rest of my life, I'll get incremental raises, but I've already topped out. I've already hit a ceiling. Sometimes I run into that with pharmacists, where a pharmacist realizes at 37, at 38, at 40 that, okay, I could do this job this way for 10, 20, 30 more years, but I feel a little bit stuck. And it's a voluntary negative situation when you hit a ceiling. What about when you go through a voluntary unexpected moment? When that happens, and it does happen from time to time, if you've worked longer than an hour, you've had that happen. When that happens, it's what's called a bump. You go through a bump moment where something in life catches you off guard. A rogue wave surprises you. Maybe you lose a job. Maybe you're starting this next year without a job and you didn't see it coming. Some other company bought your company and they eliminated your entire position. And it doesn't have to be that extreme though. I mean, maybe for you, it was that the manager who hired you and loved you and fought for you left your company 30 days after you got there, or they took a new role and all of a sudden it's upside down and you experience a bump moment that you didn't see coming. It's a negative, unexpected situation. On the positive side of things, when you go through a positive transition, a voluntary positive change is just called the jump. It's when you jump out, when you dare to be brave and try something new. It's a voluntary positive decision. You know, right now, Nashville is a jump city. It's a city that people from across the country move to jump after their dreams. There's not a lot of cities that can say that. It's Austin, Texas. It's Chicago, LA, New York, Nashville. There's only a few cities where people from Spokane, Washington say, I've got to get to Nashville because I want to jump after my dream. But again, just like the bump, it doesn't have to be that extreme. A jump moment can be you read a book, you attended a webinar, you took a mentor out for coffee or asked them a question. You tried the 30 days of hustle and actually shared all your progress in the private Facebook community. You jumped and tried something you'd never tried before. And the last one is an opportunity. When something unexpected in life comes across your path, where some opportunity you didn't see coming happens. And my favorite one in all my travels this last year was a CEO of a bank that I met in Benton Harbor, Michigan. And I asked him, I said, how did you become CEO of this bank? Like, how did that happen? He said, well, I was a teller for a few years, and then my manager above me got arrested for counterfeiting checks, so her job opened up. Do you think that was in his 5-year plan? Like, kill it for 3 years. For 3 years, be an amazing teller. Year 4, somebody does hard time. Of course not. I love when people tell me their 5-year plans. I think that is adorable. You think that's how it's going to happen? Tell me your 10-year plan, because those are just as cute. No, you're going to go through transitions in your life. You're going to have these moments. Life would be easy, wouldn't it, if we could only do the positive? If you could just say, okay, from here on out, I'm only going to have opportunity moments, and I'm going to have jump moments. I'm not going to ever hit a ceiling. I'm not going to ever have a bump. But that's not how life works. You're going to go through all four of those, sometimes before you've had your first coffee, sometimes before you've begun your day. Right now, some of you could look at that and say, oh, I'm in a ceiling in this one part of my job, but I've got this opportunity in this other part, or I just hit a bump. I'm in a relationship bump right now, and it's just not working, and the holidays are tough, and life is tough because I'm going through this bump. No, we're going to go through all four. So if it's not about avoiding them, what's it about? It's about navigating them. And if you're going to navigate them, if you're going to change your life, if you're going to set real goals and turn those into real results, you need to invest in four things. And as I studied people that were great at navigating change, this is what they invested in. They had what I call a career savings account. And a career savings account is built off of four things: relationships, skills, character, times hustle. It's four different investments. Now, the fun thing right now is that nobody is watching this webinar and is blown away by any of those words. Nobody is going to tweet, @Jon Acuff just said relationships matter. Mind blown. So glad in the middle of the holidays I spent time to watch this webinar. This was worth it. Jon said skills are important. I'd been focused on being unskilled. It's all making sense now. Thanks, Jon. And I'm going to organize my books by color too. Thanks, Jon. No, we all know those words. Just most of us have never invested in our dreams, in our careers, in our life that way, because you see, you need all four. If one of them takes a hit, the whole thing falls apart. Let's say you're great at relationships. Let's say you're great at hustle, that you're great at skills, but your character takes a hit. If that happens, you turn into Tiger Woods, and it falls apart. It's crazy to me right now that golf commentators go, it's so weird Tiger hasn't won lately. It's so weird he's not having a good time at golf. It's so weird. And I want to say, is it that weird? Because a bomb went off in part of his life. A bomb went off. Is it possible that part impacted the other parts? Now, is there a chance for a second chance for Tiger Woods? Of course there is. Is there a chance for redemption? Of course there is. But you're crazy if you think your character can take a hit and it won't impact your hustle or your skills or your relationships. I mean, there's a reason he hasn't won a major since 2008. That's 7 years ago. Can we stop calling that a fluke and start admitting that parts of our life impact the other parts? Say you have great skills, great hustle, great character, but no relationships. You become the emperor with new clothing. No one can tell you the truth. You become the kind of leader that can only be told what they want to hear. And you've worked for leaders like that. You know the boss I'm describing. You could only say certain things to them. And what I've learned is that leaders who can't be questioned end up doing questionable things. Show me a business that fell, show me a church that fell, and I'll show you a leader who is isolated and no one could tell them the truth. No, we need all four of those. And we have a hard time with that in our culture because we're taught that what we do doesn't matter. I mean, there's a reason we eat at TGI Fridays and not TGI Mondays. There's a reason The Office was a popular TV show and Dilbert comics sold millions of copies. We've bought into the cultural lie that a job is just a job. What you do during the week doesn't matter. But anything you're going to do for 40 to 60 hours of your week, for 40 to 60 years of your life should matter. It should be fun. It should have meaning. That's what I get passionate about. That's why I love this time of year, because we're about to slingshot into the rest of the year. That's why it's so important. And once you realize that, you start to see that one of those investments will help you in each of these changes. As you start to work on your life, one of these investments is going to rise to the top. Let's talk about which one that is, because they're very specific. There's one that's going to be the one you need the most. So let's talk about when you get stuck. When you hit a ceiling, what you need the most are your skills. And the reason why is simple. It's impossible to get stuck somewhere old if you keep learning something new. Skills are the hammer that helps you break through a ceiling. When you get stuck, it's time to sharpen old skills and learn new skills. And it's challenging because skills go dull quickly and sharp slowly, but it takes time and we have to learn new skills. This is why I might have to get on Snapchat. And I really don't want to. You see, the problem was I asked a room full of high schoolers. I said, who here reads blogs? And nobody raised their hand. And I thought, good to know as a blogger. Noted. And I said, well, what do you guys all use? And they said, we're all on Snapchat. And I said, no, because I don't know how to use Snapchat. I feel like it's like explaining a fax machine to my grandfather. But if I want to stay relevant, if I want to continue to talk to high schoolers who become college students, who become employees about the do-over concepts, if I want to talk to a college student and say, hey, read Do-Over Now so that when you're 45, I don't have to help you fix things you've done for 20 years, or read Do-Over Now so you don't chase a dream that's not your own dream. It's just a major you inherited from your mom because she always wanted to be a lawyer, and now you're headed to law school and you're about to go $200,000 in debt for something you don't like. Read it now. If I want to be able to have that conversation with high schoolers, I might have to learn Snapchat and develop a new skill. When you hit a bump moment, when you go through a negative, unexpected moment, what you need the most are your relationships. And here's why. If you want to figure out who your friends are, go through a negative, unexpected moment. And what you learn, which is difficult but is true, is that the people you thought would show up, the people you thought would run to the fire when they knew it happened, sometimes disappear. They sometimes ghost. But then people you didn't even know knew you existed show up out of nowhere to lock arms with you and say, we're going to get through this. That's what gets you through a bump. I started a group one time on Facebook. I helped start this group, and I was in Washington, D.C. with Brian Elaine, and we were doing a book signing event, and a woman came up and said, when my husband died, 10 people from that Facebook group came to his funeral. I'd never met them. We just interacted on Facebook, and 10 of them came to his funeral. We sometimes forget that we're not designed to do this alone. We need community, and we especially need it to carry us when we go through bumps. The third thing you need when you have a jump moment, when you dare to be brave, when you dare to step out, when you dare to say, okay, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to go somewhere new. I'm going to be brave. What you need the most when you jump is your character. And here's why. When you jump, when you get a new job, when you learn something new, your skills might not be there yet. When somebody gives you an opportunity that's beyond what you're capable of, your skills won't be there yet. When you move to a new city or a new job, your relationships aren't there yet. But when you jump with who you are. You jump with your empathy, your generosity, your loyalty, your character. When you jump with you. And the last one, when you get an opportunity you didn't see coming, what you need the most is your hustle. And hustle has a bad reputation on the internet. It really does. It's so overused that it feels like your most self-promotional, just over-promotional friend is constantly posting pictures of like Lamborghinis or their watches. Like, how do I know an entrepreneur is successful if they don't pose with their watch and a Lamborghini and a yacht and a mansion? Like, how will I ever be able to tell you're successful unless you do that? And then they put these quotes like, every day I'm hustling, Abraham Lincoln. You think, I'm pretty sure that was Rick Ross, not Abe Lincoln. But it's got this reputation, but hustle isn't that. Hustle is an act of focus, not frenzy. Hustle is fuel. That's why I'm doing the 30 days of hustle. That's why it's self-contained, is that it's the fuel for your entire year. And if we can slingshot that, if we can fill up the gas tank, our whole year can be different with what we do in January. And that's what happens when you get an opportunity. You have to learn to hustle. And most of the time, when people sit down to start on their dreams or work on their dreams or look at their life and say, okay, I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to build a career savings account. I'm not sure exactly what that means yet, but I'm going to be deliberate about it. Most of the time when people do that, they run into a problem. When they try to hustle, when they try to do what they need to do, they miss three particular things. They need time, they need goals, and they need a community. That's all it really takes to hustle. That's all it really takes to knock out a resolution. If you want to do something that matters, you have to feed it time. Time is the most valuable resource we have. And I know that personally. I'll show you right now. I'll grab this notebook. This is my journal that I use. I'm working on a new book right now. I'm writing a brand new book that is due to my editor in May. And so at the back of the book, you can see that I've been working on the hours. I've kept a list right here. These are hours that I do. And so I write down the date, the number of hours, and what I was doing. So was it research? Was it writing? I'm trying to feed this new book time because I know that's what it's going to require for it to be good. If something matters to me, I have to give it time. I could sit down with you, and if I said, what are the 5 things that matter most to you, and you listed them, then I would grab your calendar and say, okay, well, show me where you've planned those, or show me last week where you did those. And sometimes the calendar tells us a truth we're not ready for. That's why I'm challenging you to be deliberate about January. That's why I'm saying, hey, let's plan January together. Let's do day by day by day. Let's feed our goals some time. The second thing you need, if you're really going to be specific, is you need specific goals. Sometimes we're really general. We start with goals like next year, I want to work on fitness. Like that's not a goal. That's a noun. Fitness is too broad. It's too fuzzy. Or we say, next year I'm going to work on like spirituality, or I'm gonna work on health or work. Like I'm going to work on job. That's too broad. That's not specific enough. You'll never accomplish that. One of my 8 goals, I have 8 different goals that I'm working on for over the course of the year, is to run the Nashville Half Marathon in under 2 hours. And I know the date of the marathon. I've already written it down. I've already signed up. I'm working on a training course. I've got a specific goal. That's the second thing I'm going to help you with in the 30 days of hustle is, how do you figure out the right goal? Not a perfect goal, because fear loves to come in and tell you that unless it's perfect, you can't get started. I really push back on when people say they have to find their perfect calling or their perfect purpose. What an amazing place a calling is to hide when you're afraid to actually do the work you know you're supposed to do. And then the third thing you need community. Like I said, you're not designed to do this alone. You're designed to be encouraged and challenged and pushed and helped. It's such a weird thing. We understand community in some phases of life. We know that if we have a workout partner, if we have a trainer, if we have a buddy we're jogging with, we're more likely to do it. When the alarm goes off, even if it's dark, even if it's cold, even if it's rainy, we know that Matt or Cheryl, or those are the only names I can think of right now, they are out there somewhere. They're waiting on us. They're going to run and wait for us. I used to go running with a guy named Chris Thomas, and he lived right around the corner. And there were mornings where I would hope I'd step onto the front porch and he would have to run down the street toward my house and we'd do a loop together. It was like a 40-mile loop. We're wicked strong. And I would hope that I didn't see his shadow kind of coming out of the mist like a lion in the morning. Like maybe he slept in. Maybe he didn't hear his alarm clock. But then on mornings I would see him and he'd start running and I'd lace up my shoes and I'd start running too. We need community. And sometimes we understand that about working out, but we forget about it when it comes to goals. You need other writers that are saying, hey, did you write 500 words today? You need other small business owners that are saying, hey, did you call for prospective clients today? Like, cold calling makes me want to throw up, but did you do it? Like, can you check it off the list? That's what community is about. And what's fun about a private Facebook group, what's really fun about the 30 Days of Hustle new private Facebook group I'm starting, is that it's going to be small and it's going to be private. It's this weird thing that when you're behind the walls of a private community, it's like the old internet. Remember when the internet was full of like nice, kind people that wanted you to win? Like maybe it only lasted for like a day. Like the internet had one good day before the jerks showed up. But good grief, they're everywhere. But then you go behind a simple private community and you get to say, hey, here's this challenge I'm having. And am I the only one that's ever had it? And 50 other people go, no, I've had it too. And sometimes that's all you need for that day to push on. So those are the 3 things you need if you're going to accomplish your goals in 2017. And so what, 2016, 2017, 2018, every year ever. I'm just so excited talking about goals. But so what's fun tonight is that there's only about 36 hours left until we get to close the cart. And closing the cart means we're going to stop inviting people into the 30 Days of Hustle community. And as a member, what you'll get is, number 1, 30 brand new videos. So I've realized that videos are fun. They're fun to watch. They're fun to do. And they're such this small little spark of encouragement. I've learned over and over that I can send an email, and emails are important, and I'm going to send you daily reminders. but there's something powerful about sitting in this office with the color matched books and sharing an idea from the 30 Days of Hustle. You're also going to get access to private Facebook community. That's the one I've told you all about. You're going to get a 30 Days of Hustle workbook. It's 8,000 words. Sometimes when people talk about things online, they go, sign up for my free ebook, and the ebook is like 4 pages long, and you go, dude, that is not any, like, that's, stop using the word book in relation to something that has 40 words in it. That's barely a manifesto. That's the other word people like to use a lot. It's a manifesto, which is just code for a really short document. This is a really, really good book. It's 30 days, step by step, of instructions and challenges for your hustle. So day 1 will tell you, here's what to do on day 1, day 2, day 3, and so forth. You'll get those email reminders. And then last but not least, you'll get the 30 Days of Hustle worksheet, which is a printable PDF to help you track your progress. It's crazy what a simple checklist can do. So what's fun is that tonight, we get to do it at only $30. If you go to 30daysofhustle.com, you can sign up for $30. Tomorrow, the early bird price ends at midnight on December 4th. And so sign up tonight. Plus, there's a special bonus. If you sign up by tonight, I'm going to give you instant access to a webinar that I'm going to do in mid-January to get through the middle. Like, sometimes the hardest part of our goals is the middle. We set a goal, we're so excited, and then we hit the middle, and the middle drags us down. So I'm going to shoot a brand new webinar just for people who have already signed up. So if you've already signed up, you're in. But if you sign up after midnight tonight, there's no invite, which sounds really harsh. But we're trying to say, hey, you showed up for the webinar. That's awesome. Thanks for doing that. It's really fun that you showed up. We really want to respect that and thank you for that. So I'm going to do a bonus webinar that you only get access to if you sign up by midnight tonight. So I know that your dream is worth more than $30. I get that. It's a low price. I've had friends, like, the phrase that it's so hard for me to hear sometimes is friends will say, you're leaving money on the table. It should cost $400 or $500 or $800. But I want to make sure as many people can get into this as possible. And so right now, if you're thinking, well, I don't know if I have the time, I dare you to make time for something that matters to you. I dare you to find 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes where you can make time for this. Maybe it's in your commute. Maybe you've got a goal that you just want to listen to more books on audio tape, or you want to think through ideas, or you want to have 30 minutes of silence in your day. Do that on your commute. When I was commuting in Atlanta, I would practice speeches in the car. I would practice every speech on the way there in the morning. And then on the way home, I would do phone calls. I had this like 45-minute office commute car that I worked on. Maybe you're thinking you don't have the money. And I completely understand that. I think what I'd say, hopefully, is that $1 a day for the rest of the year will be a great investment. And I think you're going to absolutely love it. And that's only, $30 is only like 2 coffees. I'm not good at math, but that number feels right. I'm assuming if you're watching this webinar, you're drinking like $17 coffees with so many types of spices and like real pumpkins, not just that orange color. Like, never take the lid off of a pumpkin spice latte, by the way. That is a free lesson for you. So that's my hope, is that you'll check out 30daysofhustle.com. Again, if you sign up by midnight tonight, you'll get a free invitation to the special webinar I'm going to do in the middle of January to help you make it through the middle. And if you want the 30-day price, you have to sign up before midnight tomorrow. Now, I know it's super easy to go, you know what, I'm going to think on this, I'm going to sleep on this, I'll get to it tomorrow. But how many times have you said, I'm going to do that tomorrow, and then Friday gets away from you? And then it's the end of the day, and you think, what was that thing I was going to do? So I hope that you'll check out 30daysofhustle.com. I'm so happy you joined me for the webinar. And I think, Brian, do we have time for a few questions?
Yeah, we do. Somebody said that they have a very busy January coming up, and they wanted to know if they joined, if they'd be able to watch the videos like in February, say. Yeah,
that's one. Yeah, great. Like, busy January. Everybody's got a busy January. Like, January is the craziest month. So it's not like June. June feels like it's open, but you're not going to do a 30 Days of Hustle in June. We might do a summer idea, but we'll see. But yeah, so you get the fun thing about 30 Days of Hustle is You get access to the community, you get all the materials, and you can use them in any month you want to use them. The videos don't disappear in February. They don't disappear in March. So you get to watch the videos at your pace. There are going to be some people that go, the content is so full and intense that maybe I want to space it out over 90 days. I know that last time, we've taken 10,000 people through this already. There were people that would take one day and do it over a 3-day period to kind of stretch it out and give it more room. So yeah, it's self-guided in that sense. We'll all be going through it at the same time, but you get to decide the speed.
You mentioned the 10,000 people who have been through it before. Kathy just asked, she said, I've been through the PDF before. Is this still something that I should do?
That's a great question. I think that that's awesome that she went through it. It's awesome that she was one of the 10,000. It was really fun to go through the 800 different responses we got when we asked people, what did you work on? What did you build? Like, it was really fun to see people lost weight and written books and started businesses and spent more time with their kids. Like, you get to do the hustle to what fits your life. But yeah, if you've already gone through the PDF, that's why I created the videos. Because they're brand new and they amplify the PDF. They amplify the day by day, where you get to say, okay, here's the foundation, and the video amplifies that. And then the community and also the checklist. And we're going to have some surprises. Jenny's actually going to be in some of the videos. I'm going to text her right now because I begged her to make a cameo. Like, she's not, you're laughing, but that is 100% true. Jenny does not do stuff like this. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to text her, which feels very modern. Like, I'm texting my own wife from one room, and we'll see if she'll come make a cameo. But she's going to be in it, and it's going to be awesome. And we've talked about doing a book together before, but I think for right now, getting to share some ideas about how we both hustle and how we figured out how to work on some dreams is going to be really fun. So I'm going to write, please come here.
While you're texting that to her, Mark Fields wanted to know, I've got 2 things that I could hustle on. Can I do both, or will 30 Days of Hustle help me pick one?
Well, again, it's really up to him. I would say it's content neutral in the sense of you get to apply it to whatever you want to apply it to. I mentioned earlier that I have a bunch of different goals I'm working on. So I don't know that there's anybody's life that you could say, because sometimes I'll read goal books and it'll go, just clear off everything and only do one thing. Like, whose life is that? Like, if you said to your wife, like, baby, I got one goal and I'm only going to work, like, I'm sorry, I don't get to talk to you and the kids for 30 days. Jenny Acuff. All right. Are you tell the internet you texted me? I did tell them I texted you. Jenny is knitting a hat right now. She said, I'm going to bring my hat.
Are you taking it with you?
Yeah, I'll take the, do you want me to stand? I'll stand like this awkwardly.
Like, here's one.
All right, that's not a good angle for anybody. There you go.
Here.
Hey, there's Jenny. So I was just telling them, I don't know why I'm still wearing this, that you're going to be in a lot of these videos, as many as I can convince you. But I think people are interested and helped by when we have conversations about.
Well, because it's funny.
It's funny, but what's worked and what hasn't worked. Because I've tried a lot of things that haven't worked.
So many.
Would you agree to that?
We could probably turn around this. Look at these.
What, like, don't you think these walls are full of things I've done that haven't worked?
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, well, keep it down, because, like, there was a small area that was clean behind you.
Oh, right there. Yeah, I cleaned just one shelf, but if you see, like,
It's bad.
Oh, it's not good. But so Jenny's going to be in the videos, which I think will be a lot of fun. It's going to just be a blast. So thanks for joining me.
Oh, I can leave now?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
I mean, you don't want to sit it like
no,
you're knitting
awkwardly.
Yeah, you're knitting.
All right, bye, internet.
That's what I always say. I always say goodbye to the internet. That makes me feel like old-fashioned and Amish. So I'm going to put these headphones back in. All right. Were there any other questions?
There was one more. Somebody asked if the $30 is going to be available again after this week, which you kind of already talked about, but
no, we'll end it at midnight on Friday. So yeah, and then it'll go to $60. We'll have one more week where we offer it at $60. And the reason you lock it down is so that you can have a community, so that you can say, okay, we've got everybody's in and now we can start it. So we'll do, if you order tonight, by midnight, you'll get the bonus webinar, and then you'll also get the $30 price. But then the price goes up to $60 tomorrow night at midnight. So yeah, if you're interested, by all means, go to 30daysofhustle.com and check that out. Let me see. I should go ahead and share the link. Where do I share that? Showcase, I think.
Showcase.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
I'm opening up Showcase. So if you're right now, you're thinking, I don't have time to be typing in links. I completely understand. We're all, we're very busy. So I just dropped in the link. So if you're curious, go check it out and sign up tonight. Again, you'll get a bonus webinar, and you'll get the $30 price instead of the $60 price, which is like the full, here's the full price. You'll get that's a great price. That's not what we're going to say. But I think you know what I mean. Yep. So thank you so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun. I'll probably pop over to Twitter and answer any additional questions that are typed in. But I hope you had fun watching the webinar. Thanks, guys.